What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sports Status Podcast, right here at the, right here out in Washington. This is Nate the Great coming to you live out here from Washington, and I am here to talk about the AFC West. Now, for those that have been following this mini series that I've been doing, I've been doing an 8 episode mini series, and this is actually number 3, where I go and break down every single division in the NFL and do a blind schedule review. Um, so this is now episode 3, and I'll go ahead and talk about the team that I root for, my favorite NFL team. I'll cover them first, and believe it or not, I don't have them very high, much higher than last year. I mean, okay, yeah, we did just get Sean Payton. Okay, yes, we did. Uh, we did. I do think our offensive line is going to be better. I did see reports here and there about Russell Wilson getting in shape, but I I really am not high on. I still have doubts. Let's just put it that way. Um, Start off the first 2 games of the schedule. We play week 1 against the Las Vegas Raiders, and we play it at home. And okay, I'm going to give them a win. And then week 2, I'm also going to give them a win as well. We start off 2-0 against the Raiders and against the Commanders, but then we lose our first game of the season, and that being against the Miami Dolphins. Week 4 doesn't get too much better from there. Bears, Jets, both of them. I'm actually going to give both of them an L there, so it'd be 2-3. Again, not looking really good. In fact, after that, you play the Chiefs and the Packers and the Chiefs. Yikes. Um, yeah, I'm going to give the Green Bay Packers a lot. The game against the Green Bay Packers, I'm going to give the Broncos a win there, but that's basically about it. It's not looking good. Bye week, the Broncos are 3-4 bye week. I'm sorry, 3-5 at the bye week. Coming off the bye week, we go and play a primetime game on the road against the Buffalo Bills. Ugh. I'm giving the I'm giving the Bills the W. That's pretty much the obvious winner. But then we continue playing this bye week, not bye week, prime time games and go against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm actually going to give the Broncos a win there. Then they go play. Then they go play an easier stretch, but not that easy. Where they go lose to the Browns, and then they play the on the road against the Texans. I'm giving the Broncos a win there, and then they go and play the Chargers, Lions, Patriots, and then the Chargers again. Chargers and Lions, I'm actually going to give the Broncos a loss on both of them, week 14, week 15. And then they go on the road, play the Patriots, play the Chargers again. And sorry, not on the road. At home, playing against the New England Patriots. I'm going to give Denver a W on both of those. We seem to split the Broncos and the Chargers seem to split every single year. I can't seem to figure out why. But then they go and play on the road. I play a road game. Denver is out of the probably going to be out of the playoffs at this point. AFC West is tough. The AFC in general is tough. Wait until I do my AFC North schedule breakdown, and you're gonna see this is really just not looking good for Denver. I have the Broncos 7-10 for the 7-10 for the season, and second NFL team. So Broncos, I have them as 7-10, but my second NFL team, talking about the Chargers, and they, unlike Denver, they have a pretty relaxed schedule. Play the Dolphins. That's going to be a very competitive game. It's going to be at home. I'm still going to give them a W. Then they play the Titans, the Vikings, the Raiders. I'm not high on any of these three teams this year. I'm actually going to give the Chargers a win in all of them. Then they go on their bye week very early, which is the only thing I really don't like about their schedule. And then off their bye week, they play the Cowboys. That's where I see the first loss of the season for this team. And it doesn't it they go and lose the next week play against the Chiefs, so it'd be 4-2. But then they play the Bears, the Jets, the Lions, the Packers. All of them, I have a win in all of them. The Jets and the Packers are going to be on the road, but I still think that the Chargers are going to win in both of those. Lions, the Bears and the Lions are going to be home games for them. Then I have them losing on at home against the Baltimore Ravens, and then winning on the road against the Patriots, winning against the Broncos, winning on the road against the Raiders, winning, and then I actually have them pulling an upset win on in Week 16 against the Buffalo Bills. And then losing to the Broncos and then the Chiefs the following two games. So they do really well, but then they go on a slippier slope. Chargers, along with the Jets and the Bills, if you guys paying attention, going to the last two games. Now, the Jets and the Bills, I gave all three of those teams, and the Chargers, I gave all three of those teams 12-5 for their record. Now, what that would mean is the Buffalo Bills would still win their division based off of their based off of how the seeding's going and how the head-to-head matchups are. But the Chargers would actually get a higher seed than the New York Jets. Now, I'll explain how I think this is going to go after all this is said and done, after I go through all 32 of these breakdowns, which now I'm on number 10. But the Chargers, again, have a higher are actually going to be the Chargers are going to be 12-5. They won't finish last because I have the Broncos having a higher lower record than them, and I haven't actually covered the Raiders yet. So, but with that said in mind, actually that is the next team to talk about here. The Las Vegas Raiders. They're coached by head coach Josh McDaniels. They brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, lost Derek Carr, lost Darren Waller, brought in Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers is really the only move that I actually really like this offseason that they did. And I don't exactly agree with everything else. In fact, I'd rather have Darren Waller on this roster because I think he makes more sense than Jacoby Myers does. But at the same time, I don't think I understand why they got rid of Darren Waller, because I do think that his injuries last year was a big problem for him. But I'm not a big fan of how this organization is just run. And I'll explain more about that in an upcoming episode. But I'm just going to do a blind review over the Las Vegas Raiders schedule. Starting off on week 1 on the road against the Denver Broncos. I'm actually going to give the Raiders a loss in this one. They'll lose to the Bills, lose to the Steelers, lose to the Chargers, lose to the Packers. First 5 weeks, I have all of them. They go 0-5. And then I actually have them. I was okay. I gave them a couple of wins, upset wins and that honestly, I think the only reason I gave them these upset wins is because it's any given Sunday and anything can happen. But I actually have them beating the Patriots, Bears, and Lions, so they would have a 3-5 record at the end of Week 8. Then they lose to the Giants, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and then they would go have their bye. By the time all that is said and done, the Raiders would the Raiders would be 3-9, which is it's not good. I realistically, I don't see how Josh McDaniels can keep his job past week 12. I think he's going to get fired after week 12. And the Minnesota Vikings, LA Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, Broncos. I gave the Raiders a win against the Colts on the road and a win at home against the Denver Broncos to finish out their season. But because of where they're seated, I actually have the Broncos having a higher record than the Las Vegas Raiders. So the Broncos will not be last place either. Which leads me to the last team I haven't talked about yet. But obviously, I have this team very high because that's what they have been doing in the years past. Nothing serious has changed, except that Eric Bieniemy's not there anymore. So I do see some of these teams winning games. I do see some like teams like the Bengals for one, the Bills for another. I can see like any of these teams going out here and beating them because I think that there will be some teams in the regular season that will beat them by outscoring them. The Chiefs will put up a lot of points, but the opponent's teams will put up more points. Is where I see this going. But I don't see that happening very much. And let me explain what I mean. Week 1, they play the Lions. I actually gave Lions, week 1, they play the Lions for the Thursday night football game to start off the season. I gave the Chiefs a W. Now they go on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I also gave the Chiefs a W. They both played in the playoffs last year, and I think that game honestly is going to look closer than you expect. Calvin Ridley's going to come in and play for that team and possibly make a difference, a little bit of a difference, depending on how things go. Then they play at home again against the Bears. I have the Chiefs winning that one. Jets, I have the Chiefs winning it. Vikings, I have the Chiefs winning it. Broncos. Now, Broncos is an interesting thing to talk about. I gave the Chiefs both a win in week 7 and week 8, where they would go on the road in week 8 and play the home game in week 6. However, with Nathaniel Hackett on the roster, they let that game go a lot closer than it should have. And even the game after Nathaniel Hackett got fired, it was even worse. Now Sean Payton's coming in as the head coach, and I'm not saying that the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs will win. In fact, I have the Chiefs winning it, but it might be a closer game than people expect. And then in between the week 6 and week 8, they play the Chargers. I gave the Chiefs winning that one as well. So they actually, by the time week 10 is when they have their bye, and I don't have them losing a single game yet. But then they go play week 11 against the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's actually where I have their first loss. I just feel like that this is going to be one of those few games where the team with the most offensive firepower is going to be the team to win it. And the Raiders, I give the Raiders that they're going to beat the Raiders. They're going to beat the Packers, and the Bills is another one. I still feel like that's going to be another team where the Bills are going to outscore the Chiefs in the regular season there. And then I gave them a win against the Patriots and against the Raiders as well. And then they go and play the Bengals, and that is where they have their third loss of the season in week 17. And then they go on the road against the Chargers and win. I do think that this is a 14-3 is where I have them as their final record, and they would actually go out and win the division. So just to recap, now I definitely see there's some games on the schedule that I gave them a W, but I can see it going either way. I talked about I talked a little bit about the Broncos one a little bit. I mean, I think that Chiefs are going to win that one because that's what they've been doing. Broncos haven't been doing well since Peyton Manning, and yeah, I think next year it's going to be the same way. But and then there's also the Chargers. I can definitely see a loss there. And then there was one other team that I gave. Oh, the Dolphins. Even though the Dolphins, I don't have them having a good record. See them having a good record this year. That's another team where they do have two wide receivers that are really good. And I'm not saying anything against the Chiefs defense, but it really depends. There's a lot of these games where it really depends on how talented, which team is going to score the most points. I can see winning this game. And that is all I have for today. Again, that will be coming up with more of these schedule blind reviews in the future. And that actually starts next off. I will be doing the AFC South sometime, probably tomorrow evening, hopefully tomorrow evening. But if not, I will let you know. This has been Nate the Great signing out, and we'll see you next time.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a place. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
If you want to continue to follow the shows, you can like us on Facebook on the All Sports All Plays Network and the Sports Status Podcast. Also follow us on YouTube for the All Sports All Plays Network, and I also have my own personal YouTube account where I do all my live videos. Soon I'll be covering possibly some non-sports related content on that YouTube channel as well. Follow me on Nathaniel McQuirt, just Nathaniel McQuirt as the channel. And then Sports Status on Twitch, and then All Sports All Plays All Sports All Plays Network on Twitch as well. And also follow us on the Twitter accounts as well. Again, this has been Nate the Great signing out. Peace.